There will be times in your life when you will feel like you are walking this journey alone. There will be moments when you look around and there's no one there to support you, to encourage you, to have your back. And in those moments, you will be tempted to believe that something is wrong with you. You will question why people leave, why friendships fade, why support is hard to find. But let me tell you something. Being alone does not mean you are broken. It does not mean you are unworthy. It does not mean you are less than. There is a reason why the strongest people often walk the loneliest roads. It's because not everyone is built to endure the journey you are on. Not everyone has the vision, the discipline, or the resilience to go where you're going. Some people will only be there for a chapter, but not the whole book. Some people will celebrate you until you start to outgrow them, and then they will disappear. That's not your failure. That's their limitation. A black woman standing alone is not a woman abandoned. She is a woman in the process of becoming. Becoming someone who doesn't rely on validation, becoming someone who doesn't need permission to shine, becoming someone who understands that her value is not determined by the number of friends in her circle, but by the purpose in her soul. You don't need people who only show up when it's convenient. You don't need people who only support you when it benefits them. You need people who recognize your worth, whether you're up or down, winning or struggling. There are moments in life when you will feel completely alone. You will look around and see no one standing beside you, no one checking in, no one offering a hand to lift you up. And in those moments, the weight of loneliness can feel unbearable. It can make you question your worth, your purpose, and whether you are truly valued in this world. But what if loneliness isn't something to fear? What if it isn't a punishment, but instead a powerful season of transformation? Most people spend their entire lives running from loneliness, avoiding it at all costs. They fill their schedules with endless distractions, keep company with people who don't align with their values, and seek validation from the world just to avoid being alone. But the truth is, loneliness isn't a sign of weakness, it's an invitation for growth. It's a season where you have the chance to become the person you were always meant to be. Think about it. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history, some of the most powerful transformations happened in solitude. Some of the strongest, most successful individuals had to endure a period where they walked alone before they could step into their greatness. Because loneliness strips away the noise. It removes the unnecessary distractions, the shallow conversations, the opinions of people who don't understand your journey. It forces you to sit with yourself, to ask the hard questions, to face the parts of yourself that need healing and growth. It's in these quiet moments, when the world isn't watching, that true strength is built. Because when you are alone, you have no choice but to rely on yourself. You have no choice but to listen to your own voice, trust your own instincts, and push forward even when no one else is clapping for you. And that is where real power comes from, not from constant validation, not from being surrounded by people, but from learning to stand on your own. Too often we measure our worth based on who surrounds us. We look at our friendships, our social circles, our relationships, and we let them dictate how valuable we think we are. If we have people constantly reaching out, if we have invitations to events, if we have a strong network of support, we feel worthy. But when those things are absent, when the phone is silent, when the world seems to have turned its back, that's when doubt starts creeping in. That's when we start asking, am I not good enough? Am I not valuable? But here's what you need to understand. Your value is not determined by the number of people in your life. It is not measured by how many friends you have, how often people check in, or how many followers or likes you get. Your value is something that exists within you, and it does not decrease just because others fail to see it. Some of the greatest minds, the most powerful leaders, the most successful people in history have had moments, years even, of walking alone, not because they weren't valuable, but because they were on a path that required solitude. They were building something greater than what the people around them could understand. They were focused, disciplined, committed to a vision that others couldn't yet see. And that's where you might be right now. If you find yourself in a season where people don't recognize your worth, where you feel overlooked, where it seems like no one truly appreciates who you are, don't let that shake you. Because the truth is, most people can only see value when it benefits them. They don't always recognize greatness while it's still being developed. They don't always support what they don't yet understand. And if you base your worth on their approval, you will always be chasing something that is unstable. There comes a time in life when you realize that not everyone is meant to walk your path. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Not everyone will understand the journey you're on. And that's okay. Too often we try to drag people along with us. We hold on to relationships that have run their course, friendships that no longer align with who we are becoming, and connections that do nothing but drain us. Why? Because we fear walking alone. We fear what it means to leave people behind. We fear what it says about us if we outgrow the people who once meant everything to us. But here's the truth. You cannot reach your full potential if you are carrying people who were never meant to go the distance with you. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season. Some were placed in your journey to teach you lessons, to help you grow, to show you something about yourself. And once that lesson is learned, once that growth has taken place, it's okay to move forward without them. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you don't appreciate what they were in your life. It simply means that your path is calling you in a direction they are not meant to go. Too many people stunt their growth because they are too afraid to walk forward without the people they started with. They think loyalty means holding on no matter what, even when that relationship is no longer serving them. They believe that true friendship means never growing apart, even when their visions no longer align. But real loyalty, real love, is about understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself, and even for them, is to walk forward without them. The reality is, your vision will cost you relationships. Your dreams will require sacrifices. The bigger your goals, the more you will have to leave behind, because when you choose to elevate your life, when you decide that you are going to push yourself beyond what is comfortable, not everyone will be willing to come with you. Some people will resist your growth because it reminds them of their own stagnation. Some people will discourage you from pushing forward because they don't have the courage to do it themselves. Some will question why you are working so hard, why you are sacrificing so much, why you are refusing to settle. And if you're not careful, their doubts will become your doubts. Their fear will become your fear. Their limitations will become your limitations. The strongest women are often the loneliest, not because they are unworthy of love, companionship, or friendship, but because the path they walk demands a strength that many do not understand. Strength is not just about resilience, it is about the willingness to stand alone when necessary. It is about making choices that prioritize growth, self-respect, and purpose, even when those choices leave you isolated. Strength means having standards so high that not everyone can meet them, values so firm that not everyone will align with them, and a vision so clear that not everyone will see it. A strong woman often finds herself alone because she refuses to settle. She refuses to accept less than she deserves. She has worked too hard, endured too much, and built herself from the ground up to allow anyone to come into her life and disrupt her peace. She has seen what it means to compromise her worth, and she refuses to do it again. She knows what it feels like to give more than she receives, to pour into people who only take, to be there for others who disappear the moment she needs them, and so she learns. She learns to be selective. She learns to guard her energy. She learns that being alone is far better than being surrounded by people who do not appreciate her. Loneliness is not a weakness for a strong woman. It is a reality of her journey. She does not seek validation from the crowd, nor does she rely on others to define her worth. She walks alone because she understands that not everyone is meant to walk with her. She has dreams that require her full focus, ambitions that demand her undivided attention, and a destiny that cannot afford distractions. She does not lower her standards just to fit in. She does not shrink herself to make others comfortable. She does not dim her light to make others feel less insecure, and because of this, she stands apart. But standing apart comes with a cost. It means nights of solitude, moments of doubt, and the occasional whisper of loneliness creeping in. It means being misunderstood, being judged, and being told she is too much, too independent, too intimidating. It means watching others find easy companionship while she waits for the rare kind of connection that aligns with her strength, her values, and her purpose. It means walking away from relationships that do not honor her, even when walking away means walking alone. Yet she does not regret it, because she understands something that many do not. True strength is not just about enduring hardship. It is about choosing yourself, even when it means standing alone. It is about refusing to let loneliness push you into the arms of those who do not deserve you. It is about embracing solitude as a space for growth rather than a punishment. A strong woman does not fear being alone because she knows her worth. She knows that she would rather build her own empire than be part of someone else's chaos. She knows that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right love will find her when the time is right. Until then, she walks alone, not because she has to, but because she chooses to. When you live with purpose, you will attract the right people into your life. The moment you become clear on who you are, what you stand for, and where you are going, the universe begins to align things in your favor. But it's not an instant process. It takes time. It takes patience. And more importantly, it takes the courage to walk alone for a while before the right people arrive. Too many people try to force relationships, friendships, and connections before they have fully stepped into their purpose. They cling to the familiar because they fear being alone. They keep people around out of habit even when those people drain their energy, lower their vibration, or pull them off course. They tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, and negativity simply because they don't want to feel isolated. But here's the truth. When you are living without purpose, you attract people who also lack purpose. When you are unsure of who you are, you draw in people who are just as lost. And that's how cycles of mediocrity, toxicity, and stagnation continue. But when you start living with intention, everything changes. The more you step into your calling, the more the wrong people fall away. And at first, this can be painful. It might feel like you're losing everyone. It might seem like you're walking a path that no one else understands. But what's really happening is that you are creating space. You are making room for people who align with your vision, people who challenge you to be better, people who inspire and uplift you. Purpose attracts purpose. When you are clear on where you are headed, the right people recognize that energy. They see your drive, your discipline, your passion, and they are drawn to it. The conversations start to shift. Instead of gossip and distractions, you start talking about ideas, strategies, and growth. Instead of small talk, you engage in meaningful discussions that elevate your thinking. Instead of relationships based on convenience, you develop connections based on mutual respect, shared vision, and deep understanding.